We're talking dynasty trades today. We're looking at the market. We're forecasting the player values going forward in our dynasty leagues, which players to buy, sell, hold, or trade, or give you those sweet nothings to make you feel good about your players. Before we dig in though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at the clips from rookie camp, OTAs, minicamp, training camp, so you know what your rookies are doing on the field, plus your veterans, covering the storylines. On top of that, we're looking at the advanced analytics. We're looking at the market on these players. Click that button. Stop missing out. You'll get better for it. Starting off looking at Garrett Wilson here, and we are looking at the Jets when it comes to the clips. Justin Fields is there. Justin Fields is a different dynamic. The market's saying, hey, wide receiver 15. We think he's going to get good volume still, and he's not taking a hit on the market, even though Justin Fields could be up and down. 3 wide receiver 1 weeks last year, 4 wide receiver 2 weeks. The down games weren't horrible. Couple downers at 9, 9, 5 points. Another 9-pointer there. Unless you played week 18, then you had another 9-pointer in there. But roughly 12, 10, 14 on the low. A couple 14, 11s back there as well. But still okay when it comes to the production. And we're looking at this, we really have to imagine what it's going to be looking like with Justin Fields. Last year we had a 26% target share, had 9 targets per game, ran on 99% of the routes. We're going to be out there for almost all the routes this year, so we're going to have opportunities to be all over the place. We were in the slots 22.2% of the time. We're going to not be leaving the field. Devontae Adams, he's gone. He's with the Rams. I look for him to easily have a target share above 20%. I look for him to be in that 25 to 26% range. 9 targets a game. That's a different stroke depending on what they do with Justin Fields in offense. I could see this being a run-heavy approach considering you're jacked up with running backs. But the targets should be heavily concentrated to Garrett Wilson. 7.9 average depth of target. That could increase with Justin Fields considering Aaron Rodgers was back there last year. That could be an impact. That could allow him to be a little bit more consistent, but you're also got to look at the catchable target rate. It was 85th among wide receivers last year at 64.1%. It can't get much worse than that, but it can, and if it gets worse, it can't get much to too much. But if we're getting deep shots downfield, some of those might be misses, but when you bring one in, those are home run plays. But target share wise, I look for it to be roughly the same, and I look for the ADOT to go up. The catchable target rate wasn't even that great last year with a low ADOT, so I'd rather have a bad catchable target rate with a high ADOT, if that makes sense, because you're getting more bang for the buck for the target. That being said, target shares should be up there. Targets per game is going to be questionable whether or not this team's going to be pushing it through the air. You're looking at adjacent players. Him and Travis Hunter is a big question. The market's very hot for Travis Hunter, but yet cold due to the practice clips. I think Travis Hunter's an okay wide receiver. I think he's going to be good. Garrett Wilson's going to be one of these wide receivers that's just going to be around. He's just going to be around. He's going to be a safe asset that's going to be there, that's going to hold some value, that's going to be okay in points per game, but not what you really wanted. Everybody wanted like a Justin Jefferson-esque prospect. There was potential for that, but it never really materialized. He's just going to be around, kind of like how T. Higgins kind of been around market-wise. I'm not saying production-wise. Production-wise, just bouncing up and down. If you know what I'm saying from that, he's just going to be around in dynasty value, just kicking the tires. We're going to be the guy in the offense, though. There's not much competition. All the targets are going to be funneled to Garrett Wilson. And we got the rapport with Justin Fields. Zay Flowers, wide receiver 25, 10 spots behind Garrett Wilson. 3 wide receiver 3 weeks, 3 wide receiver 2 weeks. The down games weren't too horrible. The chart looks very comparable to Garrett Wilson, so he's a little bit cheaper, almost around. So maybe you get him instead. He's still a young wide receiver, going to be 25 years old soon. 6.8 targets per game. Start off the season hot, and we might start the season hot this year, or we have a slew of games where we're hot, then our low-end games are there because the volume in the Ravens offense is up and down. They'll run it a little bit more. They got a lot of targets going to the tight end position compared to other teams. But you're looking at the target share, 25.7% target share, 10.4 ADOT, 6.8 targets per game. Roughly, that's okay. I don't mind that. I want a 25% target share. Those shootouts, I'm shooting for that. Pushing 7 targets there. We're on there for 90% of the routes ran, so we're getting a lot of volume. We're not leaving the field, so as long as we're healthy and on the field, we're going to be seeing volume. And we just saw him working out with Lamar Jackson, so that's looking good. 116 targets last year, over 1,000 yards. If we can get an increase in touchdowns, that could be looking good for Zay Flowers. And now when you're looking at how he's valued, him and DK Metcalf, we don't know who's the quarterback for DK Metcalf yet. Jordan Addison is a good prospect. Chris Olave, quarterback times ain't looking good there. Jalen Waddle, maybe we bounce back. Jameson Williams, good upside play week to week. Tyler Warren, if you want to get young at tight end, that's a hot prospect. So again, we're still expensive, but we're very obtainable. And also trades, drafts, depending on where you're at in your league, you can get multiple of these players on your team if you wanted to start making some moves. Kyle Pitts here. Kyle Pitts is the phenomenon at the tight end position. That is hard to wrap your head around because you're expecting this big-time breakout every single year, but it doesn't happen. On the low, he's tight end 13. Right now, tight end 8. 7.7 points per game, but on the upside with a 25.1 game. Multiple tight end 1 weeks. Multiple games in double digits, but a lot of games where he doesn't do anything. So he's really either doing a lot for you or nothing. That's what that says. Not really. We had some middle-of-the-road weeks. I was kind of exaggerating. 4.3 targets per game. Now we're getting the thick of it. Now we're looking at that. 13.7% target share, an 8 out of 8.4. That's actually pretty good for a tight end. Usually the 8 out's around that 6 range, so we're a little bit higher than average. Route participation, 62.1%, and we're averaging 4.4 targets per game, which is not good. Drake London, 159 targets last year. Darnell Mooney, 106. So that's a lot of targets to 2 wide receivers, and Ray McCloud had 87 targets, and Bijan Robinson getting a lot of work in the passing game. So the ball's just getting spread around this offense. So really you're praying that Michael Penix locks on to Kyle Pitts. If all these wide receivers stays healthy, you're going to see what you saw last year. You're seeing a lot of spike weeks. You're seeing a lot of down weeks. We're not getting enough targets to be consistent, but there's a lot of options in the passing game to go away from him. But you're looking at the adjacent players here. He's obtainable. He's more obtainable now than what he was a few years ago. Contract-wise, we could be on a new team sooner than later. You got to watch out for that. Maybe we get re-signed, but considering we're only getting a 13% target share, there's no reason to make this a big deal. I think he's looking for big money. Somebody should pay up to get him. Maybe we're in a new situation, or we stay with the Falcons. Marvin Harrison Jr. looking jacked. Added some size. 11.7 points per game. Some people were down on that, and then you retrospectively go back, look at the numbers, and compare it to some other vets' rookie season. It's fine. It's looking good. Wide receiver 9 in Dynasty, so he's expensive. 6.8 targets per game. We have multiple games in double digits, multiple games above 5 targets a game. 8, 7, 7, 8, 8, and 6 on top of the double-digit games. So we're getting work in the passing game. A 22% target share last year and a good 8 out of 13.5. Catchable target rate, 64th among wide receivers. That is something to pay attention to. While we're out there 91.8% of the routes, the work rate is what I'm chasing on these players. So we're getting a good target share, which could increase. We're getting a lot of targets to the tight end, but I expect that to increase. We got a good 8-aught. He's going to be used downfield. He's got that length. Why not, right? He's got that length. True target accuracy here, 92nd among wide receivers. So if the balls can get more accurate going to Marvin Harrison Jr., you might get something here. Decent numbers for a rookie. He flashed as a rookie. He flashed. He gave you a little something. Michael Wilson had 71 targets. He was a spiky wide receiver last year. Greg Dortch didn't hit. I look for Marvin Harrison Jr. to step it up. He's got good workload measurables. There's a good chance that he's going to step it up. There's nothing indicating that he's not. Of course, he's expensive. Superflex, he's up there with some quarterbacks. He's up there with Nico, Puka, Amon-Ra, Drake, Ladd. He's expensive. Pick your poison with which expensive wide receiver you want. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba here. A lot of people were down on him going into last year. A lot of people were down on him 2 years ago, saying, hey, this wide receiver room had too many wide receivers in it. Now it's him. 14.9 points per game last year, while seeing 8.1 targets per game. ranked as the wide receiver 12. 24% target share, 8 targets a game. On top of that, an 8 out of 8.7. We're using the slot a lot. We're running in the slot 74.3% of our routes while getting a 95.4 route participation rate. So he could be rather volatile. That's something you could be looking at. New quarterback in the system, an 8 out below 10. Target share's there, targets are there, but the low 8 out says, hey, we could have some down weeks. However, the talent's saying, hey, we could be seeing some good games as well out of him. So he might be a little bit spiky, and you may not like that for wide receiver 12, or you like that because you think the talent's going to only develop going forward. But you're looking at a good catchable target rate, which is going to change with a new quarterback. Target accuracy, 24th among wide receivers, creating separation on a good whim here, 17th among wide receivers. And you're looking at him getting 137 targets. DK Metcalf gone, Cooper Kupp in. Should be getting volume. New quarterback, we'll see how it's spread around. Maybe we can get that 8 out a little bit deeper too. But Jackson Smith and Jigba getting around 8 targets per game, so we can stay on that target rate. We might be all right, but holding value, it's very competitive this high at the wide receiver market. Is there somebody you like better between him, Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown? I like A.J. Brown a lot. I understand he's a little bit older, but I like him a lot. Ladd McConkey, Drake London, Marvin Harrison Jr. He's up there with the expensive pieces. He's an expensive play. Kenneth Walker's a little bit cheaper at RB14, valued as an RB2, but when healthy, he hits. Both these Seattle running backs do experience injuries from time to time throughout the season. 18.7 opportunities per game, with 28 being on the high. Opportunity share ranks 11th among running backs, which is something you want to look at. 13th among running backs and targets. Saw a huge increase in the passing game this year, which is something that's going to only extend going forward. It's something to pay attention to. Route participation rate, 5th among running backs. He's got 4.3 speed, so in the flat, he could house on any given Sunday. If we stay healthy, he's an RB1 in production. He has that kind of potential with good RB2 weeks too, added into those spike weeks. Yards created, 24th. Yards created per touch, 13th among running backs. Juke rate, 5th. Again, that work in the passing game, 5th among running backs in route participation rate. Target share, 4th. This is a running back to pay attention to. He might be explosive, might help you out. We just got to stay healthy. 3.7 yards per carry, but juke rate's fine. Evaded tackles, fine. Explosive rating, 39th, a little bit lower. True yards per carry, 57th, which goes with the yards per carry. Yards created, 24th among running backs. Yards created per touch, though, 13th. So it's fine. But again, I'm just hammering that work in the passing game. Adjacent players, he's relatively cheap. We're up there with back-end first-round draft picks. You're looking at Caleb Johnson there. If you're looking at keep, trade, cut value in ADP, he's not going to be cheap. Like, you're not going to be able to catch him for second-round picks in most leagues, because then you're just giving them away when you could be getting some okay production. Then you're looking at the contract here. We could be out from Seattle by the end of the season, so that's something to pay attention to. Rashad Bateman, former first-round wide receiver. This guy is a splash play machine in this offense. We'll get into that. 3 wide receiver, 3 weeks. Same as Garrett Wilson, right? Same as Zay Flowers. 2 wide receiver, 2 weeks. The down games are horrendous. 3, 3, 5, 5, 2, 7, 7. But splash play machine. 4.2 targets per game. Hella volatile. Hella Will Fuller. He is Will Fuller in this offense. 15.9% target share, 8 out of 13.5. That says that this is a Will Fuller-esque wide receiver with the Will Fuller effect. We got a low amount of targets per game at 4, but the 8 out's high. We're talented enough to bring those in, which means we're getting deep bombs over Baghdad in some of these games. We're running a lot of routes, 24.5 routes per game, 83.2% route participation rate. That's what you're getting here. Expect, if everything goes forward very similar with the workload, which I believe it should be, looking at Zay Flowers, looking at DeAndre Hopkins, I believe he's going to get deep targets downfield. He's going to be splashy. You're going to get a couple wide receiver 1 weeks, a couple wide receiver 2 weeks, some piss poor weeks. That's probably what you're getting with Rashad Bateman in this offense. Wide receiver 64, that's actually a good value for that. If you play your lineups good, if you're in a best ball format, it's a good value for that. If you suck at setting lineups, this is a horrible value for you because you might as well look away because you're going to start them in the wrong games. Watch my lineup videos throughout the season. We try to predict the workload, not the points in those. It's called the must start series, but I really don't tell you to start anybody. But it starts becoming common sense as we work through it because we're looking at the routes ran, we're looking at the matchup and everything else. Rashad Bateman's going to have some explosive weeks that it's going to be hard to count on. Watch the over-unders. Watch the defensive backs. Watch the scoring of those games. Rashad Bateman's going to have his moments. He's cheap. A cheap guy to pick up. A.D. Mitchell's probably going to be in a similar light soon with that 4.3 speed. So if you want to go even cheaper or similar light with a younger player, contract-wise, he may not be with Baltimore forever, but he's not going to be in the league forever either. He is what he is right now. He is what he is. Rashad Bateman is what he is. He is a wide receiver with a ton of upside that could blow up on any given Sunday, that could make it rain for you, but also give you those piss-poor games. He is what he is. But when we're looking at these players, we're projecting the value out, seeing how we can strategize around them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching, though. Catch you on the next video.